In Korea, education is everything. It's our engine for opportunity. But what happens when success is reduced to a number? When learning becomes a contest of grades, not ideas? According to Dankook University economist Kim Tae-gi, Korea's education system is just preparing students to take college entrance exams for their whole life, instead of recreating schools to foster future innovators, problem solvers. That brings us to a pressing question. Has Korea's education system become dangerously fixated on quantifiable outcomes, and what can we do to fix it? The answer is yes. Korea's education system prioritizes test scores, STEM degrees, and immediate job prospects. This obsession with visible metrics has pushed the humanities to the margins and left students disengaged. As Purdue University's FICO analysis module notes, the quantifiable end of education becomes the sublime object of ideology, which is characterized by the lack at the heart of the symbolic order. This end is utterly empty but constantly remains unquestioned in the Korean education system, demanding change. I contend that Korea must pursue two urgent educational reforms. First, Korea must give students greater autonomy in high school, modeled after university course selection, allowing them to focus on subjects that align with their interests and strengths. Second, Korea should expand humanities education, especially by introducing philosophy starting in primary school. Korea ranks high in global standardized tests, but in the 2019 Global Talent Competitiveness Index by INSEAD, it ranked only 30s overall. Korea ranked much lower in crucial areas like labor flexibility, gender equity, and global talent attraction. This shows that Korea is producing highly educated students who are surprisingly ill-equipped to innovate, collaborate, or think critically. According to the Korean Educational Development Institute, over 80% of university students major in STEM or business, while humanities departments continue to shrink. This decline in humanities is not just academic, it's a national catastrophe. Without training in ethics, critical thought, or creativity, students lack the ability to question, reflect, or lead with responsibility, even when they are well educated formally. Jeon Choi from Korean Exposé highlights this issue, noting that the division between the humanities and sciences begins early in South Korean education, leading to a societal undervaluing of the humanities. As a result, the view that humanities is bullshit becomes a norm among students. This nationwide obsession with STEM and resulting devaluation of the humanities has led to a state of absurdity. We have something to constantly strive for, STEM and social success and wealth, but we never ask why we are striving for it in the first place. The educational aspiration of Koreans can be understood through Poso's line from Waiting for Godot, where he asks, "Who is Godot?" after having waited for him endlessly. This state of absurdity in the Korean education is what Italian philosopher Gianni Vattimo criticized in The End of Modernity. He establishes it as a product of strong thought, which is the tendency to follow absolute and unchangeable ideas without questions, as if they are metaphysically absolute. In this view, the quantifiable result becomes the unconditional, unquestionable, and absolute end of education. Vattimo offers a solution to this crisis. He suggests that we should instead follow a hermeneutic framework of thinking, according to which education is not about final given answers but about ongoing interpretation. How we can apply an interpretation based education in Korea is not entirely clear. However, we can begin by taking Vattimo's critique and building an education system that places minimal pressure on students regarding what they are supposed to study. Instead, we should allow them to study what they truly want to pursue. Korean high schools must adopt a flexible curriculum that lets students focus on specific fields such as humanities, STEM, arts, or physical sports depending on their interests. In Sweden, a curriculum reform in 2000 gave students more freedom in choosing courses. According to researcher Andrea Berggreen, this led to significant improvements in educational outcomes. Similarly, the European Union educational platform Edition app explains that in the Netherlands, secondary education allows students to choose from various tracks and subjects aligned with their interests and career goals. Sweden and the Netherlands also rank higher in the Human Development Index, which shows that their education systems are more successful in supporting student development. However, one may argue that allowing students to freely choose their courses might result in them taking, say, only STEM or arts classes without gaining critical thinking or foundational humanistic understanding. Therefore, the right solution is to increase flexibility in course selection during high school and beyond, while keeping a strong foundation in the humanities during elementary and middle school with a focus on philosophy. This early philosophy education model is proven to work. France requires students to study philosophy in high school. Columnist Genevieve Mansfield highlights the success of this by noting that French students during university admissions often spend hours responding to questions like, "Are we responsible for the future, or does work divide men?" These questions are part of regular education and push students to think for themselves about highly relevant philosophical issues. Finland also includes ethics and logic in education as early as sixth grade. These countries consistently rank high in areas such as innovation and civic engagement. Why philosophy? Because it teaches students how to reason, question, and communicate. It is not just about abstract ideas, it is about learning how to think in real life. According to researcher Anna Hamalianen from Tampere University, Finland's ethics education has evolved over a century. It helps students face cultural, political, and social challenges with critical thinking and empathy. Critical theorists Adorno and Marx Horkheimer also support this view in the dialectic of enlightenment. They argue that the goal of philosophy today should be critical theory that emancipates people from conformity and makes real changes through education and other means. If we combine flexible, autonomous education with early philosophy education, students will be able to ask fundamental questions about what education is for. They will be free to pursue what they care about without being wretched by material success or fixed outcomes. Finally, there may be the objection that implementing this kind of education is too expensive and unrealistic because of a lack of resources, but one must recall the successful models already exist. The examples of France and Finland show that this type of reform is not just an idea on paper. Korea may learn from these earlier successful models in pursuing a reform.